Yo, 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 welcome back to Hit Away Hurts, where I'm on the right now. And Mark's on the left.
Well, that's because, bro, you're sick of me always being right in our arguments. So you needed to win one thing, right? So you changed.
Yeah.
What is up? What is up? Welcome back to Hit It Where It Hurts. If you guys are on IG, you've already got the introduction. If you're not on IG, what are you doing? How are you guys? How you guys been dealing with lockdown? If you are in it, let me know how the audio is. By the way, we tweaked some things, so let us know how the audio is and if it's working out well. What are we talking about today?
So, for everyone's watching, today's topic is why you should be making a podcast, especially at this time that we're in lockdown, that just you're at home doing jack shit. It's a great opportunity.
For sure. Like, people sit there and tell me, oh, like, I have no skills, right? Like, I can't start a business. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I'm like, are you good at talking? They're like, I don't know, am I? I'm like, well, you sit here and tell me that your life is shit every single day without doing anything about it. I'm like, why not start a podcast about people having a shit life and 9-to-5 jobs, and then people will sponsor you, and then you get brand deals, etc., etc. Like, podcasting is one of those things where it's like, it's not fun for everyone. Like I don't think everyone's cut out for podcasting, but it's one of the smartest things if you're not comfortable with content. Like, you could do an audio podcast as well if you're not comfortable with the camera being on your face type of thing. And I think the ability to repurpose that content is so important as well. When you're able to repurpose content, it's like you're working smarter, not harder, right? Like, you're not instead of doing 15 pieces of content like every single day, you're doing 10, and then you're repurposing 5 pieces of content from the podcast. And like, to be honest, podcast content is always good because it's like organic, it's real. You get like real, like, when you say something and I react to it, that's genuinely how I feel, right? You can't really put an act because there's no editing, you know what I mean? So it's a bit different.
It's like easy to get started as well, bro. Like, all you need is literally your computer and a camera, and all computers have a camera and shit like that. And
that's right.
Like, you can literally be talking about everything. It doesn't have to be business, doesn't have to be this, that. You can just sit on there and just speak about your life, and people love that shit. People love drama, so you can go on talking to all that drama that you have. It's like a really good thing that right now it's booming. You know what I mean?
Like, I would like people tell me, oh, like, I have no skills. I'm like, what do you do in your free time? They're like, oh, I watch Netflix. I'm like, so why not start a podcast about like the best news on Netflix? Like, bro, I would watch that.
Yeah.
Like, if there was a podcast right now of people from the North speaking in like a casual format, like really chill, reviewing movies, saying, oh, this was the best horror movie of this week, this was the best movie, and why, blah blah blah, bro, I'd watch that. That'd be interesting as fuck. Everyone would sit there and be like, oh, Squid Game was crazy, you know what I mean, and that type of thing. Like, I don't know how people haven't done that, because everyone's fucking in love with Netflix. They love throwing their life away about it. Why not make some money or do something that brings value to people through that? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And like, in the long term, people could make money out of this. You can be getting brand deals, all that shit, promoting products. You can be making bank. Like, let's look at Joe Rogan. This guy makes over $100 million a year from his podcast. And what does he do? Just interview all these famous people and shit like that. And like, that's not where he started. Obviously, he started down and then he got up. Like, that's how all podcasts start. It just takes time with any business.
For sure. And my favorite thing about a podcast, that I love talking, bro. It's like my touche, bro. Like talking for me is like breathing, bro. If I'm not talking, then there's something wrong, right? And I'm sure everyone knows this on the podcast, and you especially. Like, I love to argue, debate, that type of shit. And when you have a platform where you can give your opinion organically, right, and be able to help people at the same time, it's like, this is heaven for me, right? This is my home. And for other people, like, the value that it will bring is that you're able to experiment in what you like. Like, if you don't know what you want to do yet, you could sit there, jump on a podcast, start talking, and see where it takes you, right? And honestly, like, we learn so much from this podcast. People come in and criticize us. We either have guests on and we speak to them about things. It's good for networking. We've had crazy networking since we started this podcast. And also, like, honestly, like, let's be real here. It didn't take long before, you know, we were about to monetize, right? Like, we've had opportunities to monetize. Obviously, we haven't chosen to yet. But, you know, like, it didn't take long. And there's nothing special really about our podcast other than the things we say. Like, I feel like we provide value that other people would be too scared to provide because they don't want to give too much to their competitors or whatever, like things like that. But for me, like being able to come on and speak as raw as I can and really speak from experience and speak to people directly, like that's like I love it, right? I love it. And so people follow us, and then brands hit us up, that type of thing, or like advertise our product, blah blah blah. And it honestly didn't take long, right? And like building a consistent viewer base that come to watch every day is probably going to be like probably one of the hardest things, right?
Yeah.
People love the hype, right? People love when you hype up an episode. When you don't hype up an episode, they probably won't rock up. And the thing is with podcasts is that daily viewerships can be like disheartening to people, right? One day they have 30 to 40, another day they have 5 to 6. And it's like, if you don't have that ability to know that whatever you're providing, one, you're going to be able to repurpose it. Two, people are going to watch the VOD. Like we have heaps of people who watch our videos afterwards because our stats tell us, right? Yeah. So then they might not be watching like right then and there, but we know they watched after. And so then they message me like, hey, like on this point, hey, sorry, I couldn't rock up. Like, bro, it's all good. You know what I mean? Like the fact that we're here providing value, it doesn't matter who rocks up for us, right? Like we're going to keep doing this forever. And so, if you're really looking for something to experiment with, maybe this is your sign to start a podcast, and it doesn't cost much. I mean, we were using our shitty headsets for a while, bro. I was editing one of our older videos, right? Yeah. And I'm looking and I'm like, bro, something's wrong with the audio. My headset aren't working. And that's our mic, bro. That's how bad our mic was. And people love that shit. Like only a few people complain, like obviously people who have done it before, but like your average person would not give a fuck, right? If you're providing value, who gives a fuck at the end of the day?
Exactly. And talking on that editing shit, bro, like the first few videos I had to increase my volume while editing. That's how bad the audio quality was. But that's right. Over time you start getting newer shit, you start upgrading. But the thing is, you gotta start. Like once you start, then you'll start to upgrade. But if you just continue contemplating, I need a better mic, I need a better camera, I need to set up this, that. No, you will never start. And like let's talk what do you call it, numbers. Right. I saw in an article that 29 million podcast episodes were released in 2020, last year.
So it's booming. Everyone wants to jump on it now.
So all I'll say is this year easily tripled or quadrupled. I don't know the stats for this year, but it probably have.
And I think a lot of those numbers are like people doing audio podcasts on Spotify, which is fine. Like it's good, but I don't think like the ability for a podcast to thrive is building it up, right? Understanding what the actual value of the podcast is, what they're all about, what they're trying to teach, right? Because if you go like to that podcast and you're doing an audio podcast and you just start off, hey, we're going to start promoting businesses. Okay, who are you? What do you do? Like, you know what I mean? So people like steam rush into podcasts and don't talk about the important shit about like why they're actually doing it. Like, why do we sit here every fucking day and expect people to listen to us, right? If you don't go through that part, then it's not that important. So like, honestly, for me, and a lot of people don't agree with this, but I think every single brand and everything, they have to show their name and their face eventually, right? I don't think you could get away with an audio podcast start off, which is what a lot of people do. Like we see it on Spotify. And so and the fact that it's booming is that it's another form of content, right? And we always speak about distancing yourself from the market. Like podcasts are this new form of content that's not only short or long, you could choose, right? Like depending on the clips you take, but it's also as real as you can fucking get, right? When we're doing TikToks, when we're doing Instagram Reels, we have 15 seconds to provide the most value we can. It's obviously animated, right? We're going to be talking about things straight to the point, right? But on the podcast, we're going to build it up. We're going to explain our thought process, blah, blah, blah. And we're only going to take the important parts out of it. And they know it's real because they can always track back. And like, people see a clip of a podcast and then they go watch that podcast, right? Like they go check where it came from, go like, follow, subscribe, that type of thing.
And like, when it comes to podcasts, it's a long form thing. People look forward to this shit sometimes. Because instead of just going on TikTok, seeing a small clip, 15 seconds, 30 seconds worth, you don't really know everything. You just have an idea of how to do something. But with a podcast, you're literally getting a step-by-step guide. And this is like we're saying this because this is what we do. But say for example, like we were talking before, like starting a podcast, like critiquing Netflix shows and shit like that.
Yeah.
People love that shit. Like, have you seen
pop the fuck off.
Have you seen like, what do you call it? There's that YouTube channel that they do that. And bro,
Yeah, I forgot it.
it's
Yeah, that one.
it's
Yeah.
like it's that shit's booming, bro. Because
Yeah.
people before they watch a show, they want to know what it's all about first. You
Exactly.
know what I
And the
mean?
trailers aren't are
They're not
shit. And
enough.
the synopsis is written by the movie guy, so there's
Yeah,
obviously a lot of bias. So it's like, bro, people can turn their like the whole point of starting a business in a way is that what are you doing in your free time right now? That's probably what you want to be doing for your 24-hour job, right? Like what you're doing when you're sitting down watching Netflix, when you're sitting down watching YouTube, you're watching Logan Paul, you're listening to rappers, whatever the fuck you're doing in your free time, it's probably something that you want to turn into a business, right? And so podcast is that way to kind of get your foot through that door. And let's be honest, like we network through this as well. Like a lot of our guests, like we network through, right? Meet people through them and meet them and that type of thing. So it's like not only beneficial for our consumers, it's beneficial for us, beneficial for our overall business. And think of the reach, right? Like right now, we're streaming on 5 different platforms, right? Let's say we have about 20 viewers on Facebook. We could have 20 viewers on Twitch, 20 viewers on IG. You get 60 viewers, right? And so the thing is, even if people are like going past it, right, and don't click on it, it's like they still see the name, right? They say, "Oh, Source Media streaming again," you know, and then like that builds like a lot of loyalty with your consumers because they know that we're consistent, right? They know that we're gonna show up every single day, right? And
exactly.
we spoke at how important it is to be able to show up.
And let's go back on like why people should really start a podcast.
Right.
Like I want your thoughts, like on the act. Like we said you should start it because a lot of people this that were listening. But what's the real reason why people should really
Right.
start one? Like
So the main thing, like I said,
like a deeper level
a
kind of
deeper,
thinking.
yeah. So if you guys think about a podcast, it's like you speaking to your consumers as if they're sitting at a table with us. Like when I asked people, like, what do you guys like in a podcast? They said, I like it when it's like very honest and real. And it's like they feel like they're there on the table with us, right? If we were sitting on the table, but like they feel like they're in the conversation, right? And I agree. Like I think when I watch podcasts, that when you feel truly within the podcast, you feel more connected to stay and listen in because you know certain trends will happen. Like for example, you know, me fucking up your camera, right?
Yeah.
Us talking about lockdown, like you look forward to that shit because you know that's what's like, because you basically sat at the table with us the whole time. If you were here from the start and you watch like, you know, the headphone stuff and like how we upgraded, you're going to be excited to come to see how we've grown, right? And so the reason why I'm using that as an example is because you develop this relationship with your consumer that's a bit more deeper than just a supplier consumer, right?
Yeah.
When we're in a meeting with people, when we're doing, like I said, Instagram and all that bullshit, like we have to act a certain way, say certain things, do certain things, right? You're not going to rock up like, you know, swearing, kicking back, having a laugh and shit. You know what I mean? So the ability to do this is that you guys get like an actual insight onto how I am as a person, right? And how Mark is as a person, and how Mark doesn't agree with everything I say, right? Like that's the truth. That's how it is off camera as well. You know what I mean? And so when you're able to do this, you're connecting with your consumers on a deep level, but they're also getting an understanding of who you are as a person. And what that does is it builds your personal branding, right?
100%.
And you know us, like we're bullish on personal branding. Like we don't shut the fuck up about it. So you know, like when you're building that personal branding, you know, you're able to get interest of people, not only for your product or service, but to support who you are as a person. Right. So when we sit here and we say, oh, like we want to help as many small business owners as we can, then maybe someone like a millionaire, for example, who can clearly go with like $1 million social media company will come with us because they know whatever we're going to be doing with our money is going to be beneficial to the greater community. Right.
Yeah.
And that's about like public relations and corporate social responsibility. And people push that idea, but don't execute on it. Right. They act like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're here to help everyone, and then they just charge and they don't explain why and all that bullshit. Like we're really about it, right?
Yeah.
So, and the networking that you get from this is something that you won't get anywhere else, right?
Oh, no. You can reach so many people. Yeah.
It can reach so many people, and the collaborations, like the way you network through collaborations. Like for example, we get someone on, their guests see our shit, right, and our guests see their shit, and basically like a really good collaboration, right? And so when you're doing that, you're able to not only grow your reach, grow your personal branding, but you're able to grow your network, which obviously means that more people are going to be interested in your product. More people would be happy to certify you as a person because they've come to know you through the podcast, right?
Yeah.
They've watched all the episodes, they've watched your growth, they see how you go about it, they see when you get brand sponsorships and you let them know before it happens, all that type of thing. And so they know you're genuine, right? So that when the word of mouth goes around, oh, who's this Zoris Mini guy? Like, who's hit it where it hurts? Who's this person? Who's this person? It's like, oh yeah, like we watch the podcast, right? Like they provide value all the time. And so when we first started the podcast, let's be honest, like one, we wanted to shout out businesses. That was the first thing. And the second thing was that we wanted to be consistent on one thing throughout our day that would grow us as people and our business at the same time, right? And this is the best thing because we can criticize each other live in front of everyone and everyone laughs at us, and we could also learn a lot about business, right? Because people ask questions, we're forced into situations where we have to answer exclusive questions about people, and we're able to grow, right? And so when you're able to talk about what you're feeling, what you're thinking, how you gained your knowledge, give out all your secrets, you're gaining opinions from every single person, right? And I always say this, like the most important thing, and this is coming from someone who talks more than anyone, the most important thing before you start talking is that you're listening. You're listening to what the consumers are saying, you know? We come up here and we talk about NFTs and I see that half the fucking market doesn't know about NFTs, then we know that that's like, okay, a lot of people actually like have no fucking clue, right? And then you can act upon that, right? Obviously, like if your audience isn't interested, you're not going to provide value on it, that type of thing. And so I just believe it's such a good relationship with you and your consumer because not only are you listening, but you're giving as well. And it's literally just like a normal conversation.
And let's not just mention how it's good for the customers, the business and stuff like that. It can be really beneficial to you as a person, like increasing your confidence, making you better on camera, like know what you're saying and all that shit, and like that builds you up as a person and then sets you for the real world. You know what I mean? Like say you're not confident in real life, you're talking to a camera, interacting with people in your comments and shit like that. That makes you like say, oh shit, okay, it's not that hard to interact with people. There's that.
It's such an important point. Yeah.
Yeah, and like in this day of age, there's a lot of introverts. You know what I mean? And but if you're one of them, that literally can help you like get through that.
Yeah, of course. And let's be honest, Mark. Like when we're sitting in meetings, in our first ever meetings on Zoom, bro, this shit was so awkward, bro. I'm sitting here like this, bro. I'm like, listen, I can't do this, you know, because bro, it's just so funny. Like I can't take that shit too serious, you know. So then when I come here and I spout all my bullshit here and I have a laugh here, then I could be really serious in Zoom calls, right? Because I know like how it works. And so like the confidence and also the ability, like me and you have learned from bouncing off each other, has helped us a lot in meetings, right? Like because you know, I ask you questions, you ask me questions. There's never an awkward silence with us anymore, where there was when we started.
At the start, we weren't like as smooth as we are now. Like right now, we're bouncing off each other. We know what to do, this, that, and like it's not all like it's all about that and shit as well. Like it's like again, it's that confidence that you gain from doing it, and like let's be honest, right? A lot of people, they see podcasts and they're like, nah, that's not gonna work. Nah, that's a lot of time consuming, this, that. But look at it this way. We do this literally from 8:30 to 9 p.m. And then what do we have after that? That's only half an hour. And then we just edit the thumbnails and that's it. We're done. You know what I mean?
We're done.
Put it in the description, that's done. So it literally takes an hour tops to do a podcast episode of your day. So you can literally do that in an hour, and you don't have to do it every day. You can do a weekly episode and shit like that. And like we were talking about starting like a hobby, like this can be your, like you can do your hobby through this. Like go on if you like soccer, teach people about soccer, or watch like react to soccer clips. This that goes on YouTube. This that. You're literally like starting a YouTube channel, kind of podcasting at the same time.
You know what the problem is with people? They think like, oh, who's gonna watch my shit? Like who's like, who's gonna listen to me? I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to do this. Do you think I do? Do you think Mark does? Like, what the fuck? Like, we just came on. We're like, hey, what's up? This is Mark, and we just cracked jokes about Mark and Mark for 50 minutes, and then we started to learn. Oh shit! Wait, we got to talk about something important. You know, so it's like we wouldn't have known how to get to this point where I could speak to you guys confidently and say that, like, bro, I've learned so much from this podcast, gained so many networks, developed such a deeper connection with certain people that you know, and people feel a lot more comfortable messaging us. I feel as well. Like when I posted my story on Snapchat, hey guys, like if you have a business idea, message us. Like we really want to help, right? Okay, that's cool. Like anyone can say that. But when I'm sitting here for 30 minutes providing every single fucking tip I've used in business to get our first consumers, right? It's like, oh shit, like they're real, right? Like they'll actually help. They know, you know, they know what they're doing. So we're building credibility in a way as well. While we're making those things. And let's be honest, anyone that wants to take this shit, like, because obviously we take this seriously, but our main thing is our social media services, right? Like that's obviously our core of our business. So if this was the start and the core of your business, the way to profit of it would not take long, honestly. And I think people think that brands will only sponsor big followings and all that. But there's a guy with 100, I think, no, he gets, hold up, 2K views on TikTok. And he gets brand deals off those 2K views, because that's 2K people that are going to see the brand. And so it's the same with podcasts, that you don't actually need like consistently 300, 400 viewers, right? If you have a good following of about 100 viewers, you're pretty much able to monetize. And if you're that good, and if you're repurposing your content really well, and you have a clear message as to what you're trying to convey, you won't reach out to brands. Brands will reach out to you. That's what I've learned. Like the number one thing I've learned in business is, bro, people find it so hard to find consumers because one, they're looking in all the wrong places, and two, they don't put enough effort when they're not getting when they don't have the money coming in, so that no one actually comes in and helps them. Like, it's so crazy how many people notice that you're doing so much work for free and then want to hire you, right? Because they know your heart's in it when you're doing it for free, right? When we go on every single day and it's like no brand sponsorships, nothing like that, providing free shout outs to business, in a brand's mind, they see that as huge, right? And I, like, it didn't come to me, and like we didn't even come to this realization until people started hitting us up and being like, yo, it's like fucking dope what you're doing, you know, giving people a platform and shit to do. So that, taking it back to the Netflix idea, if someone was to do that, like think about the brands that would want to do that, right? Like for example, all the like movie review, like Rotten Tomatoes, shit like that, like you could give them like, you know, a shout out and fucking get paid for it.
Literally Netflix, like Netflix in itself.
Netflix in itself.
And
that's
like
exactly
if
right.
a movie comes out, they'll reach out to them, be like, can you give like a review on this movie that is just coming out? There's like, remember, like, what do you call them? Like the sidemen, every time a movie came out, they'd like a movie will sponsor them just so they can talk to the actor and interview them. You can be doing like this interview podcast with actors just to, like, they'd be paying you for that shit as well. And let me touch on a point there, right? If you're going to start a podcast thinking that straight away you're going to get numbers, straight away you're going to make money, straight away you're going to get brand deals, that's not going to happen straight away.
100.
It happens through consistency and shit. And I was listening to a podcast by this marketer, right? And he said a lot of people come in thinking that they're going to get straight results, right? And this guy is like a big time like podcaster. He said, I was posting podcasts every day for like 8 months and I had no brand deal. He said, I kept posting, right? And now he's like one of the biggest podcast marketers in the world. It takes consistency. It takes like courage. You just have to be in it because you love doing that shit. Like if you love, I'll say one last thing. Like if you love talking about what your podcast is about, then you're gonna thrive.
And like you said, bro, like 30 minutes. Think about how much we get done in a day, right? Like we do 7 hours in the morning, do our uni work, come here, do 30 minutes. We edit it, bang, straight into other business stuff, right? Straight into another business, straight into this contract, straight into this. So it's like I know that I know that the 30 minutes I have now, I have to provide the most value I can. So I'm going to be spitting the fucking golden nuggets. There's no time to fuck around. It's 30 minutes and people are listening. I need to provide the best shit possible. Right. And so when I sit here and I know that I have 30 minutes to do that, I'm going to give every single thing that comes to my mind that I know will benefit the consumer. Right. and so like the value that the consumer gets and the effort that I'm putting in matches up, right?
Yeah.
And it works out, because if I'm only spending 30 minutes here and I get to do an hour of business after with the knowledge I've learned from this podcast, it's like that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? And so people need to just, begin, right? And that Netflix idea, someone fucking do it. I'll watch it, bro. I'll host you, bro.
Straight out, I'm finna do it if no one does it, bro.
Yeah, no one does it, bro.
I'm dropping out of here where it hurts.
Literally, bro. Imagine today someone did a podcast like driving in the area, right? Driving in the area with a camera to their face, dark, late at night, and the title is like talking about Squid Game, right, bro? Literally, look how many people are posting about Squid Game. You know how many clicks that shit will get? And they wouldn't even need to have a business at that time. They just need to say, I just have a passion for movies. I like talking to people.
And also, let's just be clear. You don't have to make a podcast where your face is in it. You can just post it directly to Spotify and shit like that.
Don't agree.
No, anyway, like if a person is like sensitive about showing themselves and shit like that, like, start off with Spotify. And then once you get more confident and shit like that, because through talking you'll get confident, then start like putting shorter episodes of you talking to the camera and posting it and shit like that.
But can I tell you something? What credibility does a voice have?
I don't know, but bro, like podcasts with just voices are thriving.
Let's test it.
Yeah, but look at it this way, Mark. No. Like look at it this way, right? There's people that go to work driving, right? For like 2 hours in traffic. That's the people that are hearing this shit. Like when we listen to Gary Vee and stuff on the walk and stuff like that.
But like I feel like they'll have to build credibility first with their face. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Like think about consumers and the market right now, especially with how much fraudulent shit there is, how many fraudulent gurus. I mean, there are people, but no one's gonna sit here and show their face, everything, and then give really good business advice, and then like be able to cop it after. But if I'm in an audio format and I'm sitting here like this, how accountable am I really? How accountable could you hold me? You know what I mean?
Like like right now I'm listening to podcasts without knowing who the person is, without even knowing what the person. Yeah, I just go on literally Spotify when I'm walking. I finished an audiobook, so I had nothing else to do. So and I don't like listening to Gary Vee anymore because Gary Vee just says the same shit over and over. Yeah, guys, I said that. Yes, hold me accountable. Mark's not happy.
What the fuck?
Anyways, no, you got to start learning new things. And Gary Vee just literally tells you the same. Take action, and I'm taking action, so I don't really need it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just look up like marketing, like fucking podcasts and shit, and I just click, and these guys are giving, bro. They're giving nuggets, bro. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. So Mark sold out, as you guys can tell. He forgot where his roots were from. All right, so as we're coming to the close of the episode, like we have been doing, hopefully every single day, we are shouting out a small business owner locally, and today we have just give me a second,
Rudy Hosry from Valet Limos.
That's right. It's a limo service that provides luxury chauffeur drive in Australia. I don't really know the laws around booking, but if you guys have any inquiries, just DM valet_limos on IG. And yeah, my dad will get back to you. And let me tell you, the cars are fucking Mickey. They're mint. Like, bro, you know what I would think when I see that business? I'll be like, bro, if I was a rapper right now, I'd want to rent those cars and rent a music video with them. That's
it, bro.
I don't know how fine my dad would be with that, but that's what I would do.
So to all the artists that we've had on the podcast, you know where to get your cars.
You know where to get your cars from. That's right. And so if you guys have any limo service, any limo inquiries, any chauffeur drive inquiries, just go to valet_limos on IG, and just DM them. And any questions, just DM me as well.
Too easy. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that was watching. And I don't know what just happened.
Yeah. What, we still good?
Huh?
We still good?
We are good, but let me just play something out. Anyways, yeah, so we're here, we're back.
What do you have?
We're back. Nah, the thing, bro, you know the timer just came up and would have disappeared when I flipped it. So thanks guys for watching. Make sure to check out our YouTube, all our other socials. Go check out all our posts on Instagram that we've been posting. We'll also be posting crazy videos on TikTok that are full of value and funny at the same time. So exactly, make sure to check that out. Also, make sure to check out Mark's articles. Those shit are gaining fire. They are literally like on fire. They are that good. And yeah, so do you have anything else, Mark?
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy where it hurts, real life